Live from New York, it's Ask an Engineer.
Hey everybody, welcome to another fabulous Ask an Engineer. This week we're not competing with MTV, so we're back to our high quality, high bandwidth broadcast. We're transmitting live from the Adafruit headquarters in downtown Manhattan. I'm Lady Ada. I'm the engineer in residence. This is Adabot, the
Hello.
Adabot in residence, also on camera control.
That's right.
We had a fun show.
Yeah, action-packed.
Lots of stuff. Going to hopefully have some time to answer some engineering questions as well.
Yes, and here we go.
All
Buckle
right.
in. On tonight's show,
Snap.
the code is backpack. We'll talk about the show and tell. How to join the show and tell. We're going to ask you to vote on a Lego set that might have Lady Ada in it. I have an article on Make. Microsoft, make Windows 8 more hacker-friendly.
You bastards.
Some artwork from John Janier. A wonderful pinout of the new Leonardo for John Janier. MOSFET gets a video game. The bento box gets ran over.
Oh man.
The new Pi box that we can't seem to keep in stock, including
together.
some of the history behind it of the Dragon Claws. Some updates on some Adafruit packaging. Some cool projects from our staff here. Flickr Pool Friday. Kevin Towns' bookshelf. Mailbag. New things for the Adafruit Academy section. A quick mention of our app on Wired.
Yay!
Someone made our little resistor calculator on Thingiverse. A new video from Becky. We'll have some new products from battery packs. These cool little wire clippy things. To some matrix. To some segments.
Matrix segments.
We'll have It's Not Out Yet. We'll answer your question. We'll have a trivia question. We'll have a cat. All that and more on Ask an Engineer.
Yeah.
That is a show.
Intense.
Yeah, we got a lot of stuff.
But not too much.
Yeah.
And we don't have a special guest. It's just us.
Chill.
This is like the classic show.
Just some things to get out of the way right away. This is a new shirt for you.
That's right. This is a shirt that Mr. Pete Doctor,
Yeah.
otherwise known as Pete the Doctor,
From Ask Pete from SparkFun sent you a shirt.
According to Pete.
According to Pete.
Not Ask Pete. You don't. Well, I don't know if you asked.
I think you asked Pete, yeah.
You asked Pete. Okay.
Yeah.
Ask Pete and according to Pete.
Yeah.
And I gave him a Transistor Man shirt.
That's right.
Because he's like, those are cool shirts. We
Yeah.
met at Maker Fair.
You guys are shirt friends.
And so then he was like, oh, I want to send you a shirt. So he sent me a shirt, and he's like, do you want a red shirt or a black shirt? And I'm like, I don't really wear red. Because it would clash with my hair.
That's right.
So I got this nice black shirt.
That's right.
So now we got a nice black shirt.
You guys are shirt friends.
We're shirt pals.
You're shirt pals. Like pen pals, but with shirts.
Right.
It's cool.
We have to design some more shirts so I can send them off.
That's right. We got some in the hopper. All right.
We
Quick
have
thing.
a code.
Backpack.
Backpack.
Tonight's code's backpack. 10% off many Adafruit kits, products, and more.
Including our backpacks.
Including these. We got some backpacks. We got these. These are on sale. We got that going on. All right. Let's go into the show and tell. Show and tell this week was exciting.
Okay.
We had Danny, who was working on electronics for puppets.
Yeah, it was
So
a
there was-
digital puppet with like a
and a screen.
cigar and a gun.
Yeah, the screen and then the cigar lit up. That was super cool.
Yeah.
And then George, he's 15. He has an LED wall that he made. He
Yeah.
actually sells kits. We're going to post up so more people can
Yeah, they're ping pong.
buy kits.
LED
Yeah, he had
walls.
this cool ping pong diffuser thing. Rick, he had this great story about his daughter who wanted earrings, but he said, okay, we have to do this electronics project together. And they made electronic earrings.
Yes.
So he's thinking about doing a Kickstarter.
Okay.
And then Steven, he had a lot of stuff. He sent an email to Octopart and they actually integrated his feature.
So we got a shirt.
He got a shirt. They also he also showed us his gas-powered RC car that he's going to turn into an autonomous vehicle using GPS.
This thing can go pretty fast, so I really hope he programs it in right, because otherwise it's going to like crash through a window.
Those things will go, yeah. And then he had
I
this,
never see it again. I'll just go off.
and then he had this really cool spectrum analyzer, or this visualizer, audio visualizer.
Spectrum,
Yeah, that uses just resistors and transistors.
You said it was mostly passive. They were really cheaped out.
Yeah.
Oh, you know.
All right. Do you want to tell people how they can be on the show and tell every week, Lady Ada?
Yes, it's so easy. What you have to do is you have to go to my personal Lady Ada Google Plus page, not the Adafruit Google Plus page, and when I post up a post that says, hey, comment here and I'll add you to the circle, comment there and I'll add you to the circle, and then every week you'll get an invitation right before the show and tell to show up. Otherwise, there's like 500,000 people and I can't invite them all, so you have to be part of the circle.
Yeah. And you know, the other thing is, I think Google just turned on the Adafruit Industries live,
Oh, yeah?
Hangout Live and the recording thing. But and we'll talk about this later. I think you should leave it as you because the show and tell is part of Ask an Engineer, and people want to see you.
Yeah.
And
true.
so I think it could be a company, but it's cooler that it's your show and tell circle, and they're talking to you. That's who they want to talk to.
Yeah.
So I think we're going to keep it that way.
Okay.
It's a little bit of a challenge, but
right.
we're going to do that. All right. Next up, just a reminder. So we're up to 1,675 votes on the Lego set.
Okay, so it's almost a fifth of the way there.
Yeah. So the Lego
That's pretty
set.
good.
The Lego set is one of these ideas that you had, that I had, that the company had. Wouldn't it be neat to have a Lego set that encouraged hacker spaces, and maybe it's based on a real person? We want to do an Amanda Wozniak one with biohacking. We want to do a Carol Riley one. She was recently on the cover of Make. She's a robot surgeon.
Yeah.
Robot
surgery Lego set. Yeah.
Maybe a Jerry Ellsworth transistor fab.
Yes.
I thought this would be pretty neat, and we were looking around. We found this cool Lego artist. You had some ideas. We all had these ideas. So it's on Lego. We got past 1,000 votes. Lego said, "Congratulations, you got the first 1,000." This isn't like a Kickstarter where we need money. We just need you to go on the Lego site. It's a little bit annoying, but
It's an email and to verify the
yeah,
email.
but just all you have to do is register, and you say "Oh yeah, I'd pay $30 for this thing." You don't have to. They're not going to spam you or anything, and then you put a vote. So that's what we need. We need to get to 10,000. We have time, but if everyone, we don't charge for the show. We try to give away everything open source. This one a few times we have a favor because we just want a hacker space. I think eventually, if this does work out, it'll just be called a hacker space. And
I think it'll be fun. Yeah, I mean, we
Yeah.
did Lady Da's workshop, but it could just. I think in the end, we'll probably work it out. It'll be just the hacker space Lego set, and that's cool. There should be a Bridgeport Mill Lego.
Yeah, and there's a little
piece.
pick and place there, and it looks like there's a little hacko. I mean, it's really neat, and I think that's cool. So, anyways, any support?
Yes, please vote if you haven't
yeah.
voted. You can get a mail me not address if you don't want to put your real email address out there. There's tons of free services that do emailing stuff.
Yeah.
So
But
there's no reason not
Legos
to.
actually they're pretty legit. They actually say exactly what they'll do and don't do, and they're Legos, so they're not gonna. Their goal is to be nice and not spam people.
Yeah.
They usually don't do that. So next up.
Okay.
I have an article on Make. This one is called Microsoft, please make Windows 8 more maker friendly.
Yes.
And this came from a conversation that we had with Paul, who who designed the Teensy, and the Teensy++ and other cool stuff at Maker Faire. That was great. This is the first time we met him in person. And Paul had said that, hey, I'd really like to let Microsoft know that there's this problem with drivers. And for the people that don't have to deal with Windows a lot or Windows 7, sometimes you actually have to boot into a different mode to trick it to let you put these drivers in because it's unsigned drivers.
Yeah, in Windows 8 they want... Well, Windows 7 is very picky about signed drivers, but in Windows 8 they're ultra picky about signed drivers. And basically the problem is that HID, which is a device class, which is your mouse and keyboards, obviously you don't have to install a driver for a mouse or keyboard. You plug it in and the mouse and keyboard just works.
Yeah.
And that's because the drivers are built into Windows, and so you don't have to get special signed drivers. It's not going to make you boot into a special mode. And likewise, CDC, which is the USB, basically serial port.
And
class.
that just works on Mac and Linux. That's why people
it
love
does.
plugging in their Arduino into these things.
Mac and Linux, they actually just have it built in. And the problem with Windows is that even though CDC is a class-based driver, they still want you to have an INF file that has to be signed, which doesn't really make much sense because it's a driver's built in. We think that just the person who was in charge of this probably just forgot or didn't. It doesn't seem like there's a really good reason for what they did, and because of it, basically every company that wants to do any kind of USB serial stuff, which is pretty much every hobbyist, because almost every hobbyist is going to be using Arduino or the Leonardo or the Teensy or a lot of these or the ARM devices that have built-in USB serial or the PIC devices, USB serial bootloaders. All these devices are going to have signed bootloaders, and it's it doesn't really make sense, and I think you have to pay to get it signed. So it's everyone has to pay this Microsoft tax, and it's a shame because most customers use Windows. So we want to make sure to have a good experience for Windows users.
Yeah.
And I'm willing to pay if necessary, but it's I run a company, and so I can deduct it. But for a lot of people who are just doing hobbyist stuff, it's kind of stupid.
Also, the support
honestly.
overhead for us and for any other company that like for Arduino
And
or
when you say
anyone
like,
else.
okay, boot with press F8.
Okay, to run our thing, yeah, you have to reboot your computer. Now, what's happening with Windows 8, from what I understand, is INF files are going to be digitally signed.
Right.
Which is even crazier.
That's what I'm saying. So you have to pay to get them digitally signed, and it doesn't make sense because you're not loading any DLLs. The driver is already built in. It's a text file that just points the VID at the. It's just actually makes very little sense.
Yeah.
For it to be digitally signed. So.
Well, here's the thing. So the article I published, all these people in the electronics community said, "Oh my gosh, this is exactly what we need."
Mm-hmm.
And someone from Microsoft said, "Hey, I'm at Microsoft. I do robotics. I know the group there. I'm going to send an email, and they're going to try to talk to Paul." From what I understand, Paul had talked to someone at Apple a long time ago.
He found that a guy. The problem with Apple was something different. They don't just sign drivers, but they didn't do.
He has a history of making things work.
You can do a thing where you have multiple descriptors in a USB device. So you can have two USB. You can have a CDC and mass storage, or like CDC and HID. You can have like dual devices, and like at 10.5 or 10.3, they didn't have the support. I remember it because I was trying to get it working, and it worked with Windows and Linux, and didn't work with Mac. And he found the person in charge, and he said, "Hey, like, you just don't have the support. Like, there's no reason why you wouldn't have dual descriptor support. You just don't. But can you like add that?" And they're like, "Oh yeah, that's a good point. I see what happened," and they fixed it. So now you can have a device that's mass storage and HID, which is handy for when you're doing stuff with TNC, because the bootloader, like, you can have a debug console using CDC or HID, and then mass storage for like it looks like a hard drive. So it's really good for hobbyists and also anybody who's making devices. Like, you might want to have. A watch, or you plug it in and it shows up as a disk drive. It also shows up as like a serial port. So these are.
Here's the thing, and I had to like pull myself out of this a little bit because I wrote this and I was interviewing people, talking to people, and then I said, you know what, Microsoft, it's their choice. They're at a crossroad because it's obvious that they got it after what happened with the Kinect. We can speak from experience. They got a whole bunch of people that probably wouldn't have had anything to do with Microsoft, but because the Kinect got opened up, got hacked. That changed their business. Yeah. Now they're saying, hey, the Kinect's the future. We're going to have SDKs. Everyone's going to be using this. And it's a choice. They're about to go on a different path. They can embrace the maker community, which is not tiny anymore. It's in the millions. Or they can decide to go another way.
Well, it's not just the maker community, but it's the makers community's customers.
Yeah, and it's all our customers. It's everybody.
A lot of people.
And they could get really interesting, kind of crazy, creative people using Windows 8, or they can just push them away and it'll just be Mac and Linux, which there is a trend towards that right now. A lot of people, when you go to these conferences that makers are there, you tend to see Linux and Macs more.
Yeah.
Anyways, so they can reverse that, they can change that. And the other thing is they're starting to go down a path where the booting up of a computer will require a Windows 8.
There's already a lot of stuff in the booting that we can't.
ITEF or whatever, like
we can't get involved in. That's crazy. But
my point,
just one little thing.
My point is, if that's the trend that's going that way, I don't believe that's the future. I think the future is more people who do design and engineering out there, and they're going to want to use better tools. So, anyways.
And the maker community, a lot of them use Windows, and we want to, we don't want to force people to install Linux. Yeah. It's not viable.
Not everyone has a choice. That's the thing.
Yeah, if you're at school, you have to use whatever the school provides.
Not the customers don't have a choice. They may have to use it at work or school, but Microsoft has a choice right now. Windows 8 isn't done yet.
Yeah.
They're asking people for feedback. So anyone here is watching. If you want to give that feedback, please do to them.
Especially if you work at Microsoft.
Yeah, we can change stuff.
Okay, cool.
Okay,
Next up,
John Junior has a series of photos. Maybe he could talk about them in the chat since he's here tonight. Hi, John. And he does these really beautiful photos. They're like maker noir, and he was wondering, is there a market for some type of maker art? So he posted up on the site. I encouraged him to do that, and all these people said absolutely yes. So it's hard showing hard showing your art in the world, though. Like,
what's fascinating?
It's the internet.
Actually, what's interesting is, like, I used to go to Ouija in Boston, which is the science fiction convention. It's like the one science fiction convention in Boston. And what I remember seeing is like the science fiction community, like that does cons, like they have a lot of really good art. Like, not only do they do like costuming and gaming and like RPG games and all these other, there's a huge community, and writing, of course, but they also have a lot of really good photography and painting and art involved.
Goes hand in hand.
And it goes hand in hand. And I always thought that was really cool. It's like I would always go to these conventions and I'd pick up art, like as much as like a high schooler can afford art. And so I always thought that was really interesting that we went to Maker Faire, and I noticed that although people make art, there wasn't a lot of what I'd call classical art, like the painting, sculpture, and photography that was being sold to celebrate the maker community. And so I think this is a really good opportunity for not only John, but other photographers or painters. Like, you should, if you're a maker and you paint or do sculpture or photography, like, celebrate it. And I think people love it. I always love seeing cool hacker art, and we should have more of it.
So encourage John to make these prints, and let's all buy one.
And pick up a print.
Next up, he made this really cool Leonardo pinout diagram, and I think he did a great job with that. So check it out. I will say this though: every time a new Arduino comes out, there is a small kind of like army that goes around, and they're convinced that Arduino should change the pin spacing to change the shields. At this point, there's over 400. There's more, but there's about 400 shields that are actively being used out there. It would be probably the worst thing in the world to change the way the shield works now. And also, I'll say there's a side effect that wasn't meant, but from a customer support point of view, if you were to change the shields, you could put them in either way. I like that it can only go in one way. So anyways, John Jr. did a good job, and the first question, they should change the pin spacing. So I think we all have to agree, like, it's probably not going to ever happen. You can design your own Arduino.
I don't think there's any reason anymore. I mean, like, you can get proto shields to make your own, and honestly, like, most perf board isn't double-sided, so you couldn't put it in anyways, and we have the DIY shields with the offset header, but they don't really sell. Like, people seem to have no problem. I mean, like, so far it hasn't reduced the number of shields. It seems like there's 400.
Yeah, what I would like.
That's a problem, like we have.
What I'd like to see is for the people who are really motivated, instead of complaining on something that has nothing to do with that, go and make an Arduino with that other configuration. Make the regular shield configuration, maybe another row, and then watch if it takes off. Get traction, make it popular.
There are a couple clones that do that, but like.
You know what I like about the BeagleBone? They didn't stick to the Arduino. They did it their own way, and the BeagleBone's doing great. So there's value.
I mean, there's not that many capes for it, but I mean, like,
there's
it's
a lot.
not.
There's enough. Just got started.
There's like 10.
There's like 10. It's great. Anyways, let's keep moving. MOSFET has his own game.
Yeah.
This is really neat. So Dan on our blog did this. It's a little tilt game, and you tilt it, and MOSFET captures the little Adafruit flowers. So what we're trying to do is show all these little things that you can do with some Adafruit products, these little fun like retro games, because the Arduino is powerful enough.
Yeah.
Anyways, check it out. And it all fits inside a bento box if you wanted to, like, move it around. And speaking of bento box, one of our customers who got one wanted to test it out, and we can now confirm you can crush it with a truck.
Yes.
Yeah, and you knew this ahead of time.
I knew this because we had already done this test when I first used an OtterBox at work. We had it run over by a truck to verify that it was crush proof.
Yeah. And then next up, the Raspberry Pi case that we're selling, we're trying to keep up with demand. We did a good job. Phil Burgess, Paint Your Dragon, made these neat dragon claws. Everyone really likes them. We have a video that Becky made this week that we wanted to show on how to assemble it, and then we'll talk about some of the iterations. So here's the video that Becky did. Check it out.
This is the Adafruit Pi Box, an enclosure for Raspberry Pi computers made of laser-cut acrylic. Before you snap the 6 pieces together, you'll want to peel off the protective paper backing that comes on the acrylic. When you get to the backplate that houses the USB and Ethernet ports, discard the cutouts except for the very interior one on the Ethernet port, which you'll use as a spacer later. All the sidewalls are engraved with labels for the connecting slots, which makes it really easy to put together. The top and bottom pieces are identical, but just make sure that those labels are readable from the outside for the side pieces. The basic idea is the long rectangle is held together by these end pieces that snap over with no fasteners or glue. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. We've got to put that Pi in there, so if you're going to be using the GPIO cable, attach that to your Raspberry Pi board and slot it into that side of the enclosure before proceeding. Take that little spacer we saved earlier and put it on the bottom of the Ethernet port. It'll match the height of the SD card holder. And then attach the bottom of the enclosure. Continue to use the slots and tabs to install the top and the other side of the enclosure. Here's the really clever part. Check out those side pieces. They have these flexible cutouts we like to call dragon claws. They make it really easy to attach the end caps with no fasteners. Line up the inflexible side, pinch the dragon claws with your fingers and snap the end piece right on. Pretty sturdy. You can even set the case up in convertible mode, where the top is open so you can access those headers in the middle. So that's how you put together the Adafruit Pi Box, an enclosure for Raspberry Pi computers. And if you like our videos, please don't forget to subscribe.
Okay.
Go, Becky.
Yeah, so that's the
Go,
video for it.
Dragon.
And we're increasing our capacity for lasering because they became so popular.
Yeah.
Paint Your Dragon, Phil did a fantastic job. The dragon claws are fantastic.
And it makes the kit really easy to make. Like, we don't have to
yeah.
get any hardware, so
And
it's much faster for us to make the kit.
He sent us a photo and he's like, hey, do whatever you want this. And what I did is I posted it up because I wanted to show. So he has like 22 iterations of it. And it's like watching an oil painting if you could separate the layers. Because, we all had ideas.
I only see, like, the 18th revision. And then I work with Burgess to get it from, like, the 18th to the 22nd, which is like, oh, let's add a GPIO slot. Oh, like, let's, like, widen this a little bit. Oh, like, let's change the text here. And, like, we do a couple of revisions. But, like, I don't always see the 18 revisions beforehand. And so this was kind of cool to see how many different versions there were. This is, it's a week's worth of work to get this right. And it's tough because it's not, you have to start with something basic and then iterate until, like, the idea of having, like, the snappy parts and how to do that and how to do it so it's flexible but it doesn't break. Like, acrylic is super brittle.
So, 2 quick questions. Someone wanted to know, will we sell in colors? Not yet, because the colored ones are more expensive, but we may eventually offer that.
We're going to try to get through the cool ones, and then we might do some colored ones.
How long does the laser take to cut this? So, about an hour for, like, 9 or so.
Yeah.
And then are we considering wood? Not yet. Maybe later. And Google
I like acrylic more than wood. I mean, first off, wood's more of a fire hazard too.
Yeah, and then someone said googly eyes. You can always put googly eyes on these.
You can put googly eyes. Yeah. I mean, there's plenty of googly eye space.
All right.
You can put them anywhere you want.
Yeah. Okay. Next up, this is what we showed off last week. If you order the eye necklace or the eye cufflink, we're shipping in these beautiful black anti-static boxes with these wonderfully designed labels. And on that note, we're starting to add that style packaging to the rest of our lineup. So this is the new Menta packaging for ours that we'll have in one retail location in New York City that we're doing as an experiment. But this is the new Menta case. Very black, very bold. Open it up, has your Menta ready to go. You just have to assemble it.
Yeah.
Cool little pack. We're working on that.
When the PCB and the parts all fit in the mint tin, you can just pack it in the mint tin.
Next up, we wanted to spotlight one of our employees, James here, who made this great headband that glows and blinks based on the music. So I wanted to show, this is what he made. So James has access to all the stuff here, the Adafruit. So this is what he made for his friend's band.
A candy store.
Yeah, this is what he made for his friend's band. I'll just play it a couple seconds of it. There they are.
That's cool.
You get the point.
These are some big headbands.
Oh, and
then
it's
for the Blip Festival because it's all 8-bit music.
And someone wants to know, will the plain Menta still be available? Yeah. The way we're going to do this is when you get a Menta, you can choose to put the sticker on it, unless it's retail. The retail people already have that on there. So, all right. Next up. Oh, for the people who want to know how that headband project, just check out our blog. I can't do this and link it at the same time all the time. Next up, Flicker Pool Friday. This is a nice
big
LiPo Minty Boost, a Mega Boost.
Mega Boost.
And then we also have Kevin Townsend, K-Town, I think he's in the chat, does a weekly series of articles for the EEs out there, EE Bookshelf. He has this ARM Cortex overview.
Yeah.
You had some things that you were talking about ARM today. Right?
Yeah, we were talking about, how... I mean, I always really like the ARM Cortex M series and the M3s, and for the little I've worked with them, these are incredibly powerful chipsets, and it's fantastic to find a chip that's like $5 and has like everything you've ever wanted built into it. So it's super cool, and yeah, I don't know, they're great. I mean, like the Embed uses a Cortex M3, I think is the series, and the LPC 1343 that Kevin had a breakout board for is M3. So these are the low end ones, but there's also some like crazy high end ones like the 4300 and more.
Yeah.
There's just tons of awesome chips.
Okay, I'm going to move through these pretty fast because we're
It's a
we're
mailbag.
having too much fun. Yeah, we have the mailbag. We put this up on every week. This note is from Brian. The USB Teeny I got from you is the best ISP writer I've ever used. If I broke it, I would buy another one in a heartbeat. Keep up the good work.
Yay!
Yay! So we try to highlight these every week on Ask an Engineer. Thanks for sending that in, Brian. Next up, Adam Kemp is rocking out the requirements docs. So he's a real-life school teacher teaching real-life kids in school. And when they learn maker skill sets, they get one of our badges.
Mm-hmm.
And this is what some teachers are using, other educators are using. We're kind of doing this like organically to see how it goes, because this is you're not going to fix education overnight. Mm-hmm. So this is an experiment. So this is in our adafruit.com/academy section.
Yeah.
You can see all these requirement docs. I think we have 8 or 9 now. So all the badges that we have, we're eventually going to have a requirements doc. So if you want to give a kid a 3D printing badge,
Mm-hmm.
here's all the things they should try to learn. If you want to learn about laser cutters, here's all the things that they should try to learn. In the end, they of course get the project they've hopefully made, but they get this badge to show and share. And other news that I didn't include because I just saw this, there is a KiCad workshop going on, and when you're done learning about KiCad, you get this cool badge.
Yay!
It's working out. It's
Is that
working
one of the
out.
badges we made? Or?
Yeah, we talked to the KiCad folks, and they gave us permission. So, anyways, next up, this was featured on Wired. They featured top 10 iPhone tools for creative types, and they
Yay.
included Circuit Playground.
That's us there, down there. in the
Circuit
lower
Playground's
one.
going to have a big update soon.
Oh, yeah.
I suggest you get it. Updates are always free for
Yeah,
everybody.
we'll be updating it all the time, but the next big update's coming up soon. So if you pick it up now, you'll be
Yep.
first in line.
And then next up, it's Father's Day coming up soon. Becky put together a great video on our cufflinks. I just wanted to show a couple seconds of it.
These are the eye cufflinks
never-
from Adafruit. They come in a
There's
special
always enough
black
time for
box
Becky
that's
videos. So
also
that's the new
anti-static,
packaging I
so
was
you can
talking
use
about.
it later to store your electronics.
Yeah.
You can see
Inside,
that there.
you'll
So Becky
find
goes
set of
through on
instructions,
because we have a
some
lot of
batteries,
new people
and of course
that
your
are
cufflinks.
buying these things.
They're
We
made
actually
from
do need to
aluminum
do a
and
little
have
bit of a
special
tutorial,
circuit
even
board
though all
with
you're doing
LED
is screwing in a
inside.
battery.
I know, but
There's
which
people,
way does the battery go?
Well, there's
easy to
people
get
who
your
like they just
cufflinks
get dressed
going.
up all the time. They're not
Just
techie.
take them out of the
And
box.
This is the first time they're
and
interacting with
unscrew the
electronics.
back piece.
So have a nice little video. So anyways.
Insert the battery into the
We'll
front
continue
piece
right along.
with the plus
So,
side facing
before
out.
we go to new products, because we only got another half an hour, we're gonna.
Oh, did you want to show that thing?
Oh yeah, there's one more thing. This was the Thingiverse project that someone just posted. They used our resistor calculator and they made their own, and that's great. We wanted to make sure that there's people out there, and maybe we'll make a standalone one that people can buy, but we
Yeah.
wanted to put the free one out that
This
people
is
can
good
make
beta testing.
first. Yeah. All right. Next up, before we get going, we're gonna get a new product second. The code is backpack.
Backpack.
Backpack, 10% off many things off the Adafruit store.
Okay.
Code backpack. All right, let's get a new product so we can have some time for questions. New product time.
Okay.
New products.
That's the new product.
New
clapping.
products, yeah. All right. Okay, first up, it's a cable.
It's a cable. This is not so exciting. It's just a 6 foot long, 3.5 millimeter audio cable. We're going to be doing more audio projects, so we wanted to have this cable.
Yeah.
Great.
Okay.
Works with Wave Shield. Works
Next
with
up,
Ring
by
Shield.
popular request, a giant battery.
Yeah.
Oh, look at this thing with an
It's
on-off
massive.
switch too.
Yeah, this is huge. So I have showed on the overhead too.
Yeah. How much power can this deliver?
This can give you, with alkalines, it'll give you 12 volts, and with rechargeables, it'll be about like 10 volts. And, your battery's usually about 3,000 milliamp hours, so it's about 3 amp hours. So that's a lot. And these come with a nice barrel jack. And yeah, there's even an on-off switch right here. There's no LED, but there is an on-off switch. So you can turn on and off. And yeah, there's a lot of batteries. So it's good. We have a bunch of like 12 volt devices. And people are like, well, like I want to just have a simple way of making this portable and also last a long time. And like, nothing works much better than just a bunch of AA batteries. I love AA batteries. So
Someone also knows the battery compartment I2C compatible.
well, compatible with anything that uses 12 volts.
Yeah. Sure. Yes.
Okay.
Current rating of the on-off switch looks like a micro switch to me.
It's probably good for about an amp, half an amp.
All right. Moving right along to the next one. We've got these were sent in by a customer who suggested these, that we stock these, and we tried them out and we fell in love with them.
Yeah, these are super cool.
Yeah. Do you want to explain what these are?
Yeah, they're a little confusing because some people are like, I don't understand what it does. So it's basically a wire nut, but with a snap action lever. So wire nuts, you have to have, first off, wire nuts tend to only be good for solid core wire. It has to be pretty heavy wire. So, you can twist the wires together and use a wire nut, but it's not good if you have stranded wires or like a mix of stranded and solid. So these are wire nuts, but they have a little lever that snaps up. So they're basically like a quad-unit wire nut and terminal block. So you snap the lever up and you can stick up to 12 AWG wire or down to 28 wire gauge, which is fairly thin. So that's a really big range of wires. Pretty much anything an electronics or electrician hobbyist will be handling. And then you can snap them down, and then it's a solid connection. And it's just really fast. And if you ever a setup where you have to like configure wires and connect them and disconnect them, and you don't want to solder, then these are pretty good. And I can just show it off on the overhead, showing off the snap actions.
Let's go to the other overhead.
So this is showing off one of the 5 connectors. We have 3 and 5. So yeah, these little orange levers. This isn't open. This is how they open. So you can open up one at a time or all of them, and then you can remove wires and then stick them in, and then it snaps closed.
So here's a couple quick questions. What does the other end terminate to, or are they all shorted together?
They're all connected together. It's like a wire nut. So this is all shorted together into one connection.
Can you put 3 connectors together and make a 6?
I don't understand what that means.
They want to know, can you put 2 of the 3s together to make a 6?
You would have to short one to the other.
Yeah.
So there's no external, they're meant to be safe, so there's all plastic on the outside. So if you want to connect more than 5 wires, you'd have to get more than one and then short them together with one jumper wire.
And then next up, does it pierce it or the insulation, or do you have to strip it?
You have to strip it.
Okay. Yeah. If you want, you should probably just use a 5 if you need more than 3.
If you want 3, I'd use a 5, but they only come in 2, 3, and 5, and I thought the 2s were, if you're going to have 2, you might as well have 3, so we have 2 and 3.
Yeah.
You guys are really nice.
Yeah, and they're super handy.
And they're up to 400 volts and up to 24 amps. So, I mean, like, this is
like for electric boxes and like this.
Yeah,
super
pretty much
handy.
everything.
Super handy.
I'm sure we'll use this in a kit.
How strong do they hold the wire in there?
I mean,
yeah. These are
pretty
made in Germany,
really,
right?
Yeah, I'm pulling really hard.
The Germans don't mess around.
And the snap action is quite strong. Like, you don't want to have your finger.
Can you put a pound of force? I would say yeah, because you tried to pull. Yeah, that's more than a pound. That's more than a pound of force.
You're very strong. I mean, I don't know exactly how strong, because I don't have a limit, but like, I cannot pull this out. Even like wrapping it around my finger.
We'll get a truck.
We'll
get another truck.
Okay.
Okay.
They're very, very strong.
Anyways, here's some of
Not to mess with.
Yeah. So here's some more of the photos of them. You can see.
We also have screw terminal. We call them power bus.
Yeah.
Connectors.
Oh yeah, they're UL rated and all that.
Yeah. So we have big ones that are like literally just a chunk of copper, but these are much more elegant. So if you want up to like, I think the ones we have are up to 7 connections, and they can like connect any wire, but these are much more, I think, useful and more beautiful.
Okay. Moving right along. I think these are kind of the star of the show tonight. These are the beautiful little backpacks that you made. These matrix backpacks.
Yay!
Photo of the front and the back, so you could see, but they're gorgeous, and I really like them. You want to go to the overhead right away?
Yeah, I can show off what the thinking was, and then I can do my little demo.
Let's go to the overhead.
So the thinking was that we had these little 8x8 matrix displays, but the problem with them is they have 16 pins that you have to control. And another problem with that is not only do you have 16 pins to control, but 8 of them you have to digitally control to control like one row, and then you have to sync all of those at the same time. So you need to have like a powerful 100 milliamp transistor to short the common anodes or common cathodes, whichever one you decide to use, to power ground. So you can't just connect all 16 to a microcontroller and hope it goes. It's actually not really good for the microcontroller, and they won't be very bright or good looking. So you can use chips like the Max 7219, but they're kind of expensive and they're really big. Like the chips are like this big, so you have this gigantic chip and a cute little matrix, and that kind of sucks. You can do it with 595s, but then you have like 3 chips before you know it, and there's a lot of wiring, and it's kind of annoying. A lot of people have trouble with them. So I thought I wanted to create some sort of backpack that would go on the back of them, and this is the same matrix, And the backpack would have a chip that does everything for you. And so I tried out a whole bunch of different chips. There's a couple different chips on the market that can do this, and I actually found this one worked the best. This is a Holtec chip. They actually are really good at making LED matrix drivers. Their more popular chips are like the 1632. They also make some encoder chips and stuff, but I've used Holtecs for a while, and they're really good. The only problem is you have to buy direct from the distributor. They don't distribute the DigiKey or Mouser. So this is a chip on the back, and it's a constant current LED driver chip, and it's basically designed to do exactly what is shown here. You connect it up to a matrix, and it has I2C, and it's really easy to use. So I have it hooked up here to an Arduino, and I have two matrices together, and I'm going to power this with my ginormous battery pack. So this is a yellow and red. I also have a green one over there, and this is just showing a demo. And these are actually both connected on the same I2C line. So you can connect up to 4 of these on one line. There's an address select pin on the back, 2 pins on the back, so you can change the address. And it's really easy to use. Like, we have a library, so you can set the pixels, draw lines and squares and little bitmaps and stuff. And basically, it means that you can control this matrix using the I2C lines on any microcontroller really easily. And they don't add a lot of space, and they add little mounting holes, so that's really good too.
Someone wants to know if there's a good I2C tutorial out there. I would say they look at some of the things that you put out there.
Yeah, I don't have an I2C only tutorial, but if you look at the code, there is example.
In application, I would say what your tutorial for these is pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, you can look at the code, and it'll definitely, compare to the data sheet. And then this is the green LED. Yeah, so that's yellow and green. I can actually connect all 3 of them together, but I didn't bring enough wires. But so yeah, this is a basically just a nice little backpack. And so we started with these 8x8 matrices, and then we thought it'd be really good to also do them for a 7-segment display.
Yeah. So just real quick, because someone wanted to see the smiley faces. Here they are. We took photos for the site as smiley faces. We thought that was fun. But we'll move on to the 7 segments. These are great. I like that you have mounting holes. I like that they're I2C, so you don't type a bunch of pins. And these are pretty good priced.
Yeah, so this is the...
I think the blue one's my favorite.
Yeah, but hopefully I bought a blue one over here.
Yeah, well, I got a picture of it.
So this is what the backpack looks like.
You want to go to the right?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, I'll go to the right.
So this is what the backpack looks like when you get it, and you also get a display. So here's like a display. And then you basically just have to solder whatever color display you want on top, or you could separate them and mount this elsewhere if you wanted to, and pass wires onto it. And then on the back there's this larger version of the same chip, and it has 3 address pins because you can fit the larger version. So you can connect up to 8 of these 7-segment displays together for a total of, I don't know, I guess 4 times 8, 32 different super bright LEDs. And then here is a demo of it on a circuit board. So these are kind of big, and this is my little demo that just counts up and then blinks all the dots. And we also wrote code for this too, so you could actually print hexadecimal or decimal numbers to it and turn the dots on and off. So it's really easy to use, and they're really, really bright too, which is super fantastic.
Someone wants to know, are there ones that come with the segments already soldered?
No, we don't right now because we wanted to make it easy for us to do the inventory. So we sell it as a fully assembled backpack, and then you just solder the LED on. But if you want to connect it to the wires, because the I2C pins at the top, you need to solder anyways. So you're going to have to pull out your soldering iron one way or the other.
Good chance to use that new Hacko soldering iron that some people have talked about.
And this is orange yellow color, and then this is your favorite. This is the blue color.
Yeah, we'll have
right.
we'll have some fun Back to the Future stuff maybe regarding
and then
this.
I'll show the red one off. Can I show the red one?
Yeah.
Show the red one. Okay, so yeah, that's it. So these all use the same chip. So the code's really easy to use on any of them.
Yeah. And
yeah, you basically we really love these matrix displays or 7-segment displays, but the problem is how do you add them to a project without turning it into like a massive wiring mess. So this is our solution to that. So
Yeah.
I'm pretty happy with these. We tried a whole bunch of different chips, and we found that these were the easiest to use and least flaky, and could control the most segments.
Yeah, the other thing, it seems kind of silly to dedicate an entire Arduino just to controlling like a little matrix. Like,
Yeah, like you want this to display some data that is
Yeah.
from something else, and if you're using like all of your space to just control the matrix, it's I kind of it's like character LCDs or TFTs. Like we figured out how to get, we have TFTs that are like 200 by 200 pixels almost, and they use SPI, so you only need like 4 lines to control them. So
Yeah.
it's kind of ridiculous when a 7-segment display doesn't have that much. It's like it doesn't have that much data it's displaying,
Not a lot
but you
going
need 14 pins. So it's kind of
someone
annoying.
wants to know, were these originally intended for clocks, you think?
I think they can be used for clocks or for anything. I mean,
Yeah.
they're I picked
a lot
the
of scientific
catalogs.
equipment is used.
Yeah,
All
any
right.
kind of display.
So here's another photo before we move on. It's back.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's some other photos. And you could see...
So we'll probably use these in some fun projects, but we saw that a lot of people really like these matrices, and they kept emailing us with like, okay, well, how do I get this working? And then when we said, well, the easiest way is using a Max 7219, they're like, dude, you mean I have to spend $10? And then it's like I still have to do all this wiring and all this work to get it up and running.
Someone wants to know, is there an I2C library that lets you put on any 2 pins like the new serial lib?
There is soft I2C, and actually it probably would work very well with these displays because these displays are write only. You don't read from them, you only write to them, and so it's actually you don't even really need to have a serious I2C interface because all you have to do is look for the ACK and then just send more data.
Oh,
So.
someone wants to know, do the backpacks come unsoldered too? No, those are assembled. The backpacks are
The
assembled.
backpacks
I don't know if you can see.
come.
They're all
No, I'll
assembled.
show it. I can show it on the
Yeah.
overhead exactly what it looks like.
Yeah, the backpacks are assembled, but you have to solder on the...
Yeah, I'll show exactly what it shows up as.
Okay,
So it
overhead.
looks like this is what the backpack comes as. So the circuit is assembled and tested, so you get all the components. The only thing you have to do is, depending on what color you ordered, you place the through-hole parts through here, and then you just solder these pins on the back. Eventually we might have them where they're soldered on, but honestly, we wanted to offer all the colors, and then we didn't want to have a problem where it's like, oh, we had 20 blues but no yellows, and then somebody wanted greens. So this way it's easier. For us to
Usually
offer all the
we
colors.
launch a product in the kind of the best way possible, and then we'll add tons of variations later. That's usually what we like to do. Okay.
Okay, great.
And
So that's the backpacks.
yeah, and that concludes new products.
So you can get these backpacks using the code
That concludes new products.
if you like them.
Yeah. Once again, and those are going to be 10% off tonight. We're probably not going to do another sale on these for a bit, so 10% off. Yeah. All right. We have a it's not out yet.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we have it's not out yet. Don't ask. So no questions about this thing
Okay.
that we're going to show. It's not out yet. Don't ask. All right.
All right. Let me show the. We have to go to the overhead. I'm just gonna. I'm not out yet. Don't ask.
Yeah. Okay. Here
So,
it is. This is not out yet. Don't
So
ask.
finally, I decided to also make a backpack version for this cool 8x8 bicolor display because this chip can actually handle up to 16 by 8 LEDs. So this is the bicolor display, so it can do red, yellow, and green. And this is just the demo for it. I really like this display. I like this square pixels a lot. And so we'll have this backpack out soon. We didn't get to it this week, but maybe next week we'll have this bicolor backpack. And it's cool. If you want to add like a splash of red, yellow, and green color. No blue.
Yeah.
Just red, yellow, and green.
Yeah, it's not out yet.
It's not out yet.
Can't ask.
But it will be soon.
Okay. All right. And that concludes it's not out yet. Don't ask.
Is it out yet?
No.
Can I ask?
No.
It's not out yet. Don't ask.
All right.
Okay, great.
Okay. We got through that. All right. It's now time for engineering questions.
Yay!
Here it is. Ask your engineering questions. I'll try to get through these as fast as we can.
Okay.
All right. Engineering questions.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to say anything in Mandarin? Ni hao.
Ni hao. I like at Adam's Twitter account. It says, "Wo bu shi,
Yeah.
what was it? May
Warren.
Migwa Lao Shi or something." He's like, "I'm not an American teacher."
Is there any
or something.
easy way to get through LED withdrawals? No, you got to just keep going.
No, just It's kind of like a hangover. The only way to
Yeah.
really cure a hangover is to drink more. The only way to cure an LED withdrawal is to get more LEDs.
Next up, are you moved into your new space yet? No, we're still. It's like New York. Nothing's final until when you see the background change. That's when we're in
you'll
a
know
new
because you'll
space.
be like, "That's weird. That
Yeah.
It's much bigger behind them."
Can you tell me about a super secret microchips project? Nope, it's super secret. Are you doing any SpaceX themed products? No, not yet. A lot of people are using our stuff for some like Arduino-based satellite things. We saw a Kickstarter
Yeah.
that's coming out soon. I think we're making some good stuff for people who are going to do that. I know there's been an Arduino in space. That's been kind of cool. I remember Massimo was telling us about that.
Oh yeah, there's the Space Cube stuff. CubeSat.
Next up, tube clock status. Do we have a tube clock?
We do. It's called the Ice Tube
The
Clock.
ice tube clock? Yeah, it's shipping.
It's shipping.
How often do you guys hire new engineers? Need any? Well, let's see. We just hired a couple creative engineers, as we like to call
Yeah.
them. So I would say the way it's worked so far is if you do amazing stuff in the world of open source hardware, or you're involved in doing open source, we find you.
Yes.
Yeah, we find
It's
you.
true. We have gone
You're like
after.
you're like the Morpheus of engineers. Like they
I
just get
just
a
show
call.
up.
You just FedEx them a phone.
And
But it's not actually a phone. They have to solder it together, and then if they figure it out, they have to call you. It's a
And I'm
complicated thing. Anyways,
connect up the red
Yeah.
transistor
Oh, here's one.
and the what?
When trying to make XBs talk at long distances, do I need a XB digi antenna or will any 2.4 gigahertz antenna work? I think they should
any
be
antenna will
different when
work.
I'm having trouble. Okay, any
Any
antenna should
antenna
work.
should work.
all right. Will you add voice control in any parts of the iOS app? That's an interesting question. Probably not right away because Siri, tell me this, this resistor value. If there's a place where it makes sense, but we are adding a camera feature soon. I
Oh,
can't
yes.
talk about that, but it's
not
gonna be very
out
cool.
yet,
Yeah.
so don't ask.
Yeah.
Okay, next up. I picked up your I2C servo and it's not working. What should it look like? Should I have soldered across the A number pins?
You should probably post
For
the
that,
form.
post up in the forum, show us a photo, and these have been working out great. You might just have
There's
a
probably just some configuration thing.
configuration thing.
Yeah.
Next up. Where is the official
Arduino Wi-Fi board. That's a good one to ask the Arduino team. I
I
think
don't
they have
know.
it up. I think they were talking about it at Maker Faire.
You can read up
Um,
about it on their dev
next up.
site, right?
Ice tube breakout. Are we gonna ever have a breakout board for an ice tube?
No, we have an
Yeah.
ice tube clock.
We have a clock.
Yeah.
let's see. Do you guys have any plans to do a CAN bus breakout or shield?
I don't really have any use for a CAN bus device, and that's why we haven't done one yet.
Okay. If you don't mind me asking, what quantity of boards you order? I've been talking to a contract manufacturer who says over $2,000 for 100. Set a 0.75 inch by 1.3 inch boards, not buying pick and place parts.
We buy thousands of boards.
We buy thousands. It totally depends on, what kind of board you're using, what it's made out of, how many layers. You go and get a bunch of quotes and compare them.
Yeah.
We don't quote.
We like advanced circuits, especially for hobbyists, because for people that are just learning soldering, they make the best boards, and they're in
Yeah.
the U.S. and they're awesome. They're not the cheapest, and they're not the most expensive, but they are the best.
Yeah.
Okay.
Next up. Has anyone tested the Google Galaxy Nexus with the PN532 board?
I don't know. It might be posted in the forums. I mean, I think.
We don't have code for phone to NFC. We don't have that.
Yeah.
We don't have that pairing code done because it's actually kind of not out there at all.
Well,
But there's no reason why it wouldn't work. The chip in the Nexus is the same chip. It's the PN532.
okay. Next up.
It's not going to not work. We just don't have the code for it.
Next up. Have you heard anything about when the MPU 9150 from InventaSense is coming out?
No idea. You should probably talk to InventSense
Yeah.
about that. But by the way, they're not going to tell you anything.
Okay, next
So,
up, Flare update. We're still in beta. We're trying to get it out as fast as possible. We'd rather get it out and
It's
be
not
good.
out yet.
And
Yes.
yeah, no, I can talk about it.
Okay.
We have them. We're testing them. The LEDs are looking good because our goal is to have the ability to make video jackets with it at some point.
Yeah.
So we're working on it as fast as we can. We could stop doing the show every week, and we'd have a lot more time
That's
to do
true. We
things.
could not release any new products.
We could go.
We're not
We
going
could
to
go dark.
anywhere.
We could go dark. We can go stealth mode. We could pivot.
Next up.
What?
What type of software do you guys use for schematics and board layout?
We use Eagle.
Okay. Are you using Eagle 6 now?
Yes.
You've moved to it.
That's right. All the new board files that are being put up are slowly becoming Eagle 6.
Yeah.
We're not allowed to pivot, they said. No pivoting. Okay, good.
I just pivoted.
Oh, man.
All right.
I don't even know what that means.
Okay, is there any known interface between a Beagle Bone and a Raspberry Pi? We haven't seen that one yet.
No.
The forbidden interface.
Interface.
How hard is it to talk to hardware on the iPhone dock connector without a Red Park dongle product?
It's pretty much
Yeah.
impossible. It's locked
You
down.
can jailbreak stuff and do some weird things. There's people who
You
do
can
the
jailbreak
sound
it.
thing. They do the sound thing.
Yeah, but you pretty much, no matter what, you have to get a development password account anyways. You can do it using the phone cable, but through the 30-pin connector, you have to jailbreak it.
Okay, how do I measure resistance between 10 ohms and 1 meg with the Uno?
Well, you could do it logarithmically with an op amp, or you could, I mean, it depends on what your precision is. So, I don't know. I mean, I wouldn't really use an Uno as a resistor measuring tool. It's not what it's really good for. You could have 10 different pins with different resistors connected to it in parallel, and then pull each one up, and then measure each one's analog output, and like kind of try to do guessing on a logarithmic scale with that. But yeah, honestly, it's not really a good system for measuring resistances.
Yeah, someone mentioned the Bluetooth 4 stuff, which is only on the 4GS and the iPad 3. That is a way to do it, but like it's pretty new.
Yeah.
It's all new. Yeah. Let's see. Someone says if you root your phone, Verizon will kill your warranty. Yeah, well, that's what they do. That's their game. We have ours.
Are you pivoting?
Yeah. I think, any more engineering questions before we move on to the next thing? Oh, here we go. Any plans to do anything with Bluetooth 4? I have a Blue Giga module I'm starting to play with.
We have no plans at this time.
No plans at this time. We, as a company, have to do all sorts of things. No matter what, we're going to have to support old Bluetooth stuff, and we're going to have to support new Bluetooth stuff. And when we do Bluetooth, we're going to have a little bit of everything. That's the way it is.
Yeah.
The way it is.
Do you know if USB 3.0 can do serial via an FTDI chip?
I don't know. I'm not FTDI. You should probably talk to FTDI.
Isn't my Mac USB 3.0?
I don't know.
Yeah. All right.
I don't have a USB 3.0 device.
Okay. Why do engineers have awesome fashion sense? I haven't heard that too often.
You were always good.
Let's see. Any updates on the floor? We just talked about that. It's coming out. Any IPv6 compatible chip interfaces for Arduino?
No.
Not that I know of. Let's see. How do I learn how to make the Leonardo appear as a 4-axis joystick? I think the Arduino folks had a post about
there should
the
be a tutorial.
HID stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, there should be a tutorial
Yeah.
on that. But then you have to figure out what the 4-axis joystick commands should look like, which I don't know. I
Yeah.
don't have any 4-axis joysticks.
Next up, have you considered selling solderable headphone jacks?
I thought we did, but we don't, so we'll probably add them to the store at some point.
Okay. How can I connect multiple I2C devices of the same type?
Unless you can change their address pins, you can't.
Yeah.
You have to make sure that every one of them has a unique address.
We ever have a 2-hour show? No.
No.
It's an hour and a half right now with the show and tell, and that's a lot of time. What I would
Is
like
this
to
the
see...
same person who's asking why the floor isn't out?
I think so. I would like to see more electronic companies and people in the maker community
we shouldn't be the only ones.
do a weekly show, because I believe right now Ask an Engineer is the longest running weekly live show.
It's the only weekly live show.
But it's also the longest running. That is
That's
true. So it'd be
It's the only one.
yeah. So we'd like to see that. I'd like to see more. I want to tune in.
We're the only ones.
I like
Nobody
Erin's.
else-
I like
nobody else can
Erin's
do it.
robot. Her robot party. I like a lot.
Nobody else can keep it together this long.
Yeah.
You know how hard it is to run a weekly show? Everyone thinks it's really easy until then they do it themselves
Yeah.
and they give up after 3 weeks.
If we started one, can we work together? I don't know what that means. Could Dave Jones of the blog make an appearance? Well,
He's in Australia.
Yeah, he is
I'm
in
not gonna go to
Australia.
Australia.
That's pretty hard.
I can't do that and also finish Flora.
Yeah, and then the Amp Hour podcast. So that's a podcast different. I'm talking about a live weekly video show. I watched
That's
Dave
very
Jones.
different.
I watched Dave Jones' recorded show that he puts up, his teardowns.
It's very a 1 hour live show is very different
Yeah.
even from a recorded show.
It's rough. It's rough. It makes us have to do things different because every Saturday.
We can't do
Yeah.
any edits.
Yeah. That's true. That's true.
It has to be entertaining for a full hour.
Yeah, we do the Google Plus on the for the show and tell. One day I'm tempted to switch from Ustream, but right now Google Plus is more of a person-to-person. It's not exactly a broadcast thing.
Yeah, it's not good for that.
And we can't put in images. I can't do the little logo thing like this. I can't do this.
Do this thing.
I like to do this. I like to put the camera on
Hey,
the logo.
look at
Yeah,
us.
look at that.
Check
Look
out
at that.
Menta.
Isn't that
Nice
nice?
Menta. Nice
Look at
packaging.
that. I can't throw videos in the same way. So for now, All right, how many hours a day do we work? Usually,
All of them.
I don't know. I would say 5 a.m. to midnight is pretty common. Unfortunately, we've been working a lot. That's why we look tired.
Why isn't the floor out yet?
Yeah. And I think that is gonna be it.
Yeah, we have to show off this cat. This cat's waiting.
We've got a cat soon.
Cat's
yeah.
waiting in the green room.
Yeah. It's only work if you'd rather be doing something else. That's what Dean Kamen said, to quote someone.
All right.
All right, I think it's now going to be time we do trivia question. Trivia question time. You know how you know? There's that graphic.
Yeah.
All right, you want to do the rules?
Yes.
Rules.
If you've won a prize before on this show, then you can't answer the question. So, like, type it into, like, another window, or go feed your cat or something, or, like, work on an Arduino project, or complain about Arduinos. If you're a friend, you can't enter the contest, and the first person with the correct answer with spelling wins the prize. What is the prize today?
We're gonna give away one of each, one matrix,
one
and
matrix
one
backpack?
yeah,
And
one
seven
segment, one matrix. So
Mega back package.
yeah. All right.
Hope you like LEDs.
Yeah, hope you like LEDs. Here is
Who doesn't?
the trivia question.
Yeah.
This one is by John Janier. Who is the first woman to receive a doctorate? It was a post on our site. Please put the first, middle, and last name the best you can. I'll be a little bit more forgiving for this one because I think she has a lot of names. But the first woman to get a doctorate. It's not Lady Ada. Not Dr. Quinn. Oh! Sean Ree, SAHN _REI. You got it. Elena Carano Piscopoya. And I have a link here. So, really interesting story. She was super smart, learned a bunch of languages, and it was her father who kind of pushed her to get all these degrees. And then the Catholic Church at the time, if I remember this correctly, said, well, we really don't want to give her a doctorate in theology because that's, back in the 1600s. It was a little weird back then. So they gave her a doctor of philosophy.
Okay.
And so that's what they did.
She got a PhD.
At the age of 32. First woman to get one.
That's pretty young.
Yep. And she also got a doctor's ring, the teacher's
Most
cape, and the
PhDs I know
poet's...
don't even finish by that age.
Whew. Okay. So
That's not a doctorate.
that's it. Special thanks to John Janier for posting that up. There was one question that came in at the last second.
Yeah.
Someone said if they want to do their own live show, what can they do? Actually, we have a gift guide from last year where I outline everything. It's pretty much the same. You need fast connection, you need a couple cameras. That's it. Ustream's free. I think I'd love to be watching a show.
I would love to watch. We used to watch Make Live.
Yeah, we watched Make Live. When Dave Jones had his live show, we'd watch that. When Jerry had her live show, and I watched the Robot Party. So why don't you show the
this.
overhead, and I'll get the real start. He has a big game now, so MOSFET is...
Let's just hang out and watch these LEDs. That's relaxing. I could watch square LEDs move like all day.
Okay. And the other thing is a vote on that Lego thing is a vote for a Lego MOSFET.
Yes.
Just remember.
There's a Lego MOSFET.
Okay, so here he is. Hello. So he has his own video game now, and he has his own Lego creation. Buddy?
He demands tuna.
Yeah. Hanging out.
He's not very vocal right now.
No, sometimes he meows when we put him up to the camera. Some days he doesn't.
Maybe if I yank on his tail a little bit.
Don't yank on his tail.
I'm not yanking. I'm just giving him a little
It's not
tug.
cool. Not cool.
I know what he can take.
Okay. All right. So Shane _REI send us an email, and we'll make sure you get your backpacks out there. Special thanks to John Engineer. Special thanks to Becky who's in the chat. Special thanks to Kevin Townsend, Phil Burgess. Did I mention Becky? She was there, yeah.
Yeah.
George, who's doing all the recording every week.
Yes.
Special thanks to everybody who was on the show and tell.
Thank you to everybody who voted for the Lego set.
Yeah, please vote for the Vegas Lego set. Make this happen. Imagine going into a Toys R Us and seeing a Hackerspace Lego set. We can do it, folks. We can do it. You know enough people. We can actually pull this off. We'll see everybody next week.
There was like 50,000 people in Maker Faire.
That's right. Here is your moment of Zener.